So let's start on the price. It's above 50,000 now. Where do you think it's going?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Of course, we can only speculate, but when you measure it in terms of dollars, you have to think it's going to infinity, right? I mean, this national currency is only 50 years old. It's already showing extreme signs of weakness, and I think pretty soon people are going to start measuring the price of things in terms of Bitcoin. And I think the true believers will tell you that it's going all the way to the moon, to Mars, and eventually, will be the world's currency. So we won't be measuring the price of Bitcoin in terms of dollars, but in terms of what else you're going to be buying with it. Probably planets and other solar systems.
Okay, but let's try to put a number on it. What do you mean by infinity, the moon or Mars?
So, the people that are believers in Bitcoin see it's going to replace all of the world's currency. So that means basically whatever the market cap of the dollar is, the euro, all of that combined is what Bitcoin could be worth. I think, in the near term, people see it surpassing gold as a store of value. So, I think $1 million as a price target, within the next 10 years is very reasonable. To some extent, it comes down to the pace of which the U.S. continues to print money. Bitcoin has absorbed a lot of that inflation. I think people are increasingly looking to Bitcoin as a safe haven asset when the value of their quote unquote savings account, which is returning 0.0001% a year, which, is not even making up for inflation or even close to it, is looking more like a losings account. So, I think we're just going to continue to see more people pile into it. The younger demographic is certainly taking notice of it, and they see it as a better version of gold and something to protect them against all of this inflation that's happening.
Now, Jesse, we're reporting the round you're raising would put the valuation of the company at $10 billion. It could potentially double if there's demand. What can you tell us about that? And is that a step towards going public?
Yeah, we're certainly on track to go public. We've had a lot of inbound interest in financing and in people buying shares in the company. Personally, I think $10 billion is a low valuation. I wouldn't be interested in selling shares at that price. So, we're talking to a lot of interested parties. We may end up doing a primary financing. The company is cash flow positive. We got a very strong balance sheet. There's not really a reason to raise new capital other than possibly to accelerate the pace of acquisitions.
So when might you go public? Coinbase obviously just filed for their direct listing, and there's a lot of momentum.
Yeah, so it's something that we're exploring. Probably not this year, possibly next year. We've got SPACs lined up around the corner, beating down our door, looking to do something with us. I think that's an unlikely, I think, possibility for us, just given the size of the company relative to the size of these SPACs. So we'll probably do a direct listing. Well, hopefully sometime next year, but no guarantees.
Now, of course, Jesse, there are the skeptics, including potentially even the guy who's going to run the SEC, Gary Gensler. One of our Bloomberg opinion columnists wrote it this way. I just want to read it to you. There's a saying that the best way to make money in a bubble is to sell pickaxes to the gold miners. That is Coinbase's business. But Bitcoin exhibits a lot more fragility than true believers admit or realize. Bitcoin is all about confidence, and confidence has a funny way of disappearing in a flash. Does the fragility concern you at all? Does the uncertainty make you waver?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make me waver at all. The Bitcoin programming has been the same. There have been very minor upgrades over the last 10 years that just make it more robust. The adoption has increased steadily over time. The system has just continued to prove itself. So I'm not worried about the price going up or down day to day. I mean, if you look at the 10-year chart, right, it's outperformed everything else in the universe. So in my view, I'm a long-term holder. There's no reason to sell Bitcoin. And I think a lot of other people are just waiting to buy the dip. These hodlers of last resort, they call themselves, there are people who will never sell their Bitcoin, and they're just waiting, to be able to spend it. So I'm not worried about it. I think there are a lot of weak hands out there. They come in, they day trade, they don't really understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin. But I think there are enough people out there now that see that Bitcoin is the future and are holding long term. And I do think if you're buying into Bitcoin out of speculation, then you should be committed to holding for 5 years, because the price could move up and down 50% on any given day. And you have to have strong conviction to hold through that.